Welcome to MPHS Digest. My name is Renner Ventling, the principal at Mount Pleasant High School. I'm very proud today to have as our guest the valedictorian and salutatorian of the class of 1986. The valedictorian is Jean Pfeiffer, the daughter of John and Jean Pfeiffer, and Jean had a perfect 4.0 grade point average. And the salutatorian this year is Brenda Carrick, the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Richard Carrick, and Brenda had a grade point average of 3.98. Congratulations to each of you girls for being our top scholars this year, and welcome to MPHS Digest. The first question that I would like to ask you for this program is, when did you first realize that you may have an opportunity to be recognized as a top scholar, and was that a particular goal of yours? And was it any particular ambition?
Well, I realized probably at the beginning of my junior year, I found out that I was in like the top 5 of my class, and so then I thought that I had a chance, you know, if I kept my grades up. And so then I just tried to keep them up. I didn't really work real hard at it as a real goal or anything. It just happened.
Jean?
I didn't even really realize it until, you know, because of the score, I knew that I was up there. But I just didn't think about it. I never thought it would last because I didn't think I worked that hard. But at the end, I realized that I had it, and then I did try to maintain it for the last semester, the first semester of the senior year. Once I realized that it was that high to begin with. But I always have tried to do well academically, but I never, you know, as a goal, I would never go for something like that.
So, for each of you, your motivation primarily was high standards of your own personal performance, and not any glory or particular recognition.
No.
What would you attribute your success? This is a very, very special honor. We have approximately 275 students graduating this year, and you represent the top 2 students in your class. What sets you apart from your peers?
A little luck, probably. Yeah, because you know that probably the top 12 kids in the class have above a 3.9, and I think, you know, all those kids, you know, it could have gone any way. You know, one grade and you blow it, and Brenda or I could have slipped below a couple other kids easily. So I think it's just a little luck that the 2 of us came out on top, you know. I don't know. And it depends on the teachers you have, I think. You know, some teachers you do the same amount of work in one class, you know, and for a different teacher it could come out differently. It could, you know, they could grade your papers differently and give you a different grade for the class, you know. And that would be it.
So besides an awful lot of hard work on your part, luck certainly is a factor. When you differentiate a 4.0 and a 3.98, that's probably the difference between an A and an A minus in one particular course. And when you have the numbers of very academically capable students that we have, luck probably is a large part of that. This Sunday is commencement. That is the end of your career at Mount Pleasant High School. Where do you plan to go after that? I assume that each of you do plan to attend college next year. Have you made those decisions? And how did you arrive at going through the decision-making process in terms of what school you would attend?
Well, I decided to go to Michigan State University, and I don't really know how I decided. I just narrowed it down by the location, and I wanted to stay in state, and I just decided on Michigan State finally.
Gee?
Truthfully, I haven't decided on a college yet. I have narrowed it down to 2 colleges, the University of Michigan and Kalamazoo College, and it just depends on, you know, you can get different opportunities at both colleges. They both seem to be excellent schools, and I did kind of want to go out of state, but this year I decided I was a little, you know, I thought I better go in state because I knew the areas better. And it'll just depend on whether I choose a big, huge school or else a small, private school.
Have you made any career decisions yet in terms of what you would like to major in college or what you'd like to do in a career 10 years from now?
No, I haven't. I'm just entering college with an undecided major.
Yeah, I am too. I have no idea what I'm going to do.
In terms of the future, hopefully Mount Pleasant High School has done a good job of preparing you for the future. I would appreciate the thoughts of each of you in terms of how our school has prepared you not only for college, but life in general.
I think this is one thing I've been thinking about lately, and that is that, this school it's allowed me to do almost anything I've wanted to do. If I want to play a sport, it's got a sport that I like and I can play, along with doing all the extra things that, are involved in the school. If you want to play piano, then you're allowed to, the school offers classes and things, and not necessarily for piano, but just in a musical sense. If you want to be musical, it offers that. If you want to be athletic.
The thoughts of each of you in terms of how our school has prepared you not only for college, but life in general.
I think this is one thing I've been thinking about lately, and that is that, this school it's allowed me to do almost anything I've wanted to do. If I want to play a sport, it's got a sport that I like and I can play, along with doing all the extra things that, are involved in the school. If you want to play piano, then you're allowed to, the school offers classes and things, and not necessarily for piano, but just in a musical sense. If you want to be musical, it offers that. If you want to be athletic, it offers everything in there. Drama, it offers everything, and almost anything you can get into. You don't have to be great at anything. You can just be a person interested in this school has always got something for you. And I think that's a great, vocationally, this school is far better than a lot of other schools I've seen around. So I think it's prepared me pretty well.
So in other words, Jean, the flexibility and diversity of our curriculum,
oh yeah,
you feel very strongly has prepared you well, not only for college, but hopefully throughout life.
Oh yes, definitely.
Brenda, your comments on that, please.
I would just go along with what Jeannie said, that the great variety of all the classes that are offered, you can try. Like she said, you can try, so many different classes and in so many different topics, and it was, just prepares you all around for college.
What activities have each of you participated in as students at Mount Pleasant High School? The thing that I hope that we can portray to our listening audience is that we have here this year two students that certainly are not the stereotypical bookworms, but you're very well-rounded, involved students. Would you please share with us some of the various activities that you have been involved with since entering high school?
Well, I've been on the varsity track team all 4 years. And, well, outside of school I was involved in gymnastics. But school doesn't have a gymnastics team, so that wasn't with the school. And I've been involved in National Honor Society and SAD Committee, which is Students Against Drunk Driving, and several other committees through 4 years.
Well, I started playing piano when I was a freshman, so I've been doing that all 4 years, and I've played 2 sports each year, all 4 years of high school so far, and a few other things. I mean, I know everybody participates in things like homecoming and and you're always involved in your student government and what they're doing if you want to be. And one year I was involved in a musical, and just anything that I could ever see, I always tried to get involved in.
Were you involved in Hands Across America?
Yeah, sure was. Yep.
How was that experience?
That was just great. It was, I mean, the people, the camaraderie, is that how you say that? Yeah, was just incredible. The people on the highway, there's just packed with all the people up for the same cause. It was a great experience.
As you graduate and look back on your career at Mount Pleasant High School, what will be some of the most memorable highlights that will follow you? I know that in your careers with us there have been many things, because each of you have had many accomplishments and made many contributions to our school. But what would some of the highlights be?
I can't think of just one. There's been the homecomings and, all the dances and fundraising activities for our class, and then of course there was prom. Just all the numerous activities that has been going on in the last 4 years.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to pick, and say that these things stood out, because I think for me, a lot of things happened that, of course, all the things she mentioned were highlights, but there was also other highlights, just in a normal Friday night party or something, where people would get together and just really have a good time. Or even in school, if the school as a class or as a National Honor Society or as anything like that got together and did something, that was always a highlight also, all 4 years.
One thing that I've been very, very pleased with, Brenda, you mentioned about the SAD chapter. The formulation of our SAD chapter this year, and Project Graduation and Alcohol Awareness Week, and some of those programs that we have instituted this year, and that has certainly been through the efforts of many seniors. That the leadership has been outstanding, and that is a highlight that I will always remember, not only the class of '86 in general, but also you two gals in particular, because you have been exemplary leaders and really taken the bull by the horns, and not ask why we can't do it, but say we are going to do it, and let's get the job done. In terms of the school staff, has there been any particular staff member or academic class that has had a particular motivation for you to want to excel and do well?
I think that's definitely hard to say, because you can't just pick one. If you like your teachers or something, that's one thing, but you're always going to have some you like more than others. I think that certain classes are, they stimulate you more, intellectually and things like that. I enjoyed geometry and biology and, things like that, but I don't think that it was just any one thing that would help me over. I think it was mostly within myself, if I knew that I wanted to, accomplish things academically, and that's what made me, try hard, I guess. I was always glad when the teachers were nice and the classes were fun, but basically.
How much influence have your families had on your education?
Well, my family has always, encouraged me to get good grades and do homework and everything, but they weren't so much as, sit down and do your homework. And they didn't put too much pressure on me, so I felt like I could do other things and, go to games or parties and but I would still get my homework done just to please them, although, it wasn't just for them. So, I mean, they had a role in my grades.
Certainly being the top two members of your class academically puts you in some very, very small company. Have there been any particular social pressures or peer pressures regarding the high standards you have placed upon yourself and have certainly demonstrated academically?
I suppose people, don't you get a little sick of people assuming that you're a bookworm or assuming this, you know, maybe assuming you can't do other things because you're going to be studying or something. That's kind of ridiculous if you ask me, you know.
And that's precisely the stereotype that I hope that we can correct in terms of the general public, that you can be motivated and excel academically and still be very well-rounded, normal individuals. Have you made any particular sacrifices to achieve what you have achieved? You know, you've talked about, you know, parties and I know there's been part-time work situations and dances and other school activities. Do you really feel that you've had to make any major sacrifices to be where you are now?
I don't. Of course, there's been, you know, maybe a few things down the line, a few parties, or, you know, a few games that I haven't been able to go to because I had a paper to do or something, but overall, no.
I don't think so either. Not any more than anybody else.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's just the way, it's just the way you are. You know, you budget your own time and you make your values so that if you have to get a paper done, you get it done in a certain amount of time. If you want to have a party or something, it's just in the way you budget your time and everything. That's what I think.
That brings me to a question that will have a lot of impact on underclassmen or students new to Mount Pleasant High School or the high school experience for the first time, and that is, what type of advice would you offer to younger students in terms of how they can be the best that they can be or perform well academically? You mentioned self-discipline and alluded to some other things. What specific advice would you give young students?
I would just tell incoming freshmen and the other students that, like Jimmy said, to budget their time is important. And, you know, if there are things you want to do, parties or games you want to go to, you still have to think about your homework and getting things done, you know. You still don't have, you know, you don't have to go home and hit the books every night. So I think schooling and the homework is important.
Yeah, I don't think it doesn't matter, you know. I think they should go in with the attitude that it's going to matter a little bit, so they should make an effort. I don't think that they should all try to get top grades or anything, because, you know, that's just in the type of person you are. But I think that if they went in with a good attitude to be the best they could do, they would help themselves in every way, you know. And so that would be my advice.
And I would add to that to realize what our own limitations are, as you mentioned, Jamie. Not necessarily trying to get straight A's, but to be the best that they can be, and make an honest effort and keep up on your homework every day, that type of thing. If you, I'm really putting myself on the spot now, but if you could make a recommendation of how we could make Mount Pleasant High School an even better environment, academically or socially, what real quick recommendation would you make?
I don't know. I really don't.
It's tough to say that anything could be done. There's things that are wrong with it, but every time that there's just no solution. Every time you create a solution, there's nothing like that.